Can you give us an overview of what this micro slim tube is, and that's compared to the current slim tube that's on the market and used readily in the industry? And what problem is it actually solving today?
Absolutely. So in the oil and gas industry, especially right now, there's a big push towards decarbonizing. And with that, they're looking for industrial applications of large volumes of CO2. And one of those is a process called CO2 enhanced oil recovery. So companies will inject CO2 in liquid or supercritical phase underground, and that CO2 interacts with the oil in the reservoir. And it turns out that the pressure that the system's at will dictate how the CO2 and the oil interact. So if you have CO2 at very low pressure, it'll just sort of percolate through the oil and not really interact that much and sort of do this behavior that we call fingering and just jet through right to the production well. But if you have the pressure up high enough, you reach a point called minimum miscibility pressure. And once you get above that, then the CO2 starts to become miscible with the oil. So it sort of goes from a system that's like salad dressing with oil and water through to a system that's more like alcohol and water where they mix together really nicely. And so then you can get a much more miscible front and you get higher displacement and higher oil recovery. And energy companies are really interested in what this pressure point is because it dictates which fields will be economic to use this process on and which ones won't. And so, yeah, we're a new entrant into the market in this, and we're displacing a test that's called as you mentioned, the SLIMTUBE, which is basically just a 20-foot long quarter-inch tube packed with sand, and they inject oil first and then inject CO2, and then they can observe what's coming out the other side of the tube. And if you get really high recovery, then it's miscible, and if you have low recovery, then it's immiscible. This takes a really long time, on the order of over a week per test, and we've developed a version that uses a much smaller fluid sample and put it onto a little microchip that's about half the size of a credit card. And then we can inject the oil, inject the water, and observe with a microscope and see how the two interact. And we get we can generate 10 times the volume of data in a fraction of the time it takes to run these conventional ones.